Assalamu alaikum warahmatullah. Bismillah wa salatu wa salamu ala rasulihi wa ala alihi wa sahbihi ajma'in. Wa min tabi'ahum bi ihsani ila yawmiddin wa ba'd. I'd like to welcome you all to our second part of the Ramadan review, inshallah. So in the last part, for those who may be joining us now online, we discussed some of the issues about the quote unquote moon sighting wars. And hopefully we brought some clarification concerning, moon sighting and how the naked eye sighting um, trumps everything. And another thing I wanted to mention that in the region, you know, naked eye sight without any instruments, because that's one of the other things. They use optical enhancements when they say that they see the moon, and it's not naked eye sighting. So our people who do it every month, they're really sticklers about no, not using any optical lenses or anything like that, any equipment, naked eye sighting. Okay. And also, we don't want nobody to think that we're bashing Saudi. We always get this. You just, I heard brothers, oh, you hate Saudi Arabia. No, man, that's the land of the Prophet Sallallahu. You know, Jazeera to Arabs. That's what we love. Saudi Arabia is something else. That's a whole another monster. Okay, so we'll continue where we left off. Let me get this screen presentation. So alhamdulillah, for those online, we were able to print out a couple of copies of the PowerPoint, and you all will be able to view it on here, inshallah. So let me go to the share screen. Okay. All right. Current slide. All right, so I think everybody should be able to see that. Can you see that, Mr. Bay? Oh, you're not doing it, right? Oh, okay. Hold on a second. Present. Share screen. Okay, what's going on here? Okay. Okay, it's a conspiracy. It says page unresponsive. It's a conspiracy. They're trying to block us. Okay. Okay, I'll try it one more time. And then if it freezes, we'll just.
Is it not loading up or
What's going on?
check the Wi-Fi?
Okay. One that guy. Okay, let me stop the screen. Let me try something else. Okay, let me try it again. Thank you for your patience. Y'all been waiting all day for us to start, so a couple more minutes ain't gonna hurt. Okay. Okay, if it don't come on this one, I would just read it off. Okay. So we covered moon sighting, who is obligated to fast, who is exempt from fast, and we're going to cover as soon as I get this up. Okay, let's see. Yeah, I think that's it. All right. Okay, there it is. Okay. All right. So now we're on the page where it says once Ramadan begins. I don't know what's going on with this thing. Uh, what's happening here? Okay, we're gonna get about that. All right, so we're on the page where it says once Ramadan begins, and we talked about the niyyah. All right, so everyone know what the niyyah is? It's the intention. And in the Shafi school, the intention should be done every night. The intention should be done every night. And of course, there's to facilitate ease. You know, although we try to stick to the curriculum as much as possible, do it every night. There may be nights a person may forget, so they can just make it at the beginning of the month for the obligatory fast, because we know that every obligatory act of worship has to have a specific intention. You know, so and then this is based on for the Shafi school. It is based on the Hadith where Hafsa reported that the Prophet ﷺ said that whoever does not have intent to fast the night before dawn or to fast before dawn, there is no fasting for him. All right. And so this is related to an obligatory fast because we know there's another hadith. One time the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam, he came to his wife Aisha radiallahu anha, and he asked her, did they have anything to eat? And she said, no, there wasn't anything to eat. He said, then I'm going to fast. And so the scholars have explained that this is a fast that's an optional fast, and that the intention doesn't have to be made like the night before, but it should be made up until at least noontime. But after that, it would be invalid. All right. So making the niyyah every night before the fast, but as to make it easy, the person can make the niyyah at the beginning of the month, and that would be sufficient. And I think that's what the rule in the Maliki school is. That it, Mr. Bay?
I'm sorry.
Is that the rule in Maliki school to make the intention at the beginning of the month?
Yes.
Yeah, so we'll follow our predecessors, the Malikis, in that case, So either way, because in Ramadan comes, Allah says, Yuridu lahu bikumul yusra wa la yuridu bikumul usra. That he wants ease for you, he does not want hardship for you. And that's in the same ayat talking about when sighting the moon, Surah Baqarah, ayat 185. So if we can, we should try to be stringent and try to make the fast, make the intention to fast every single night, because, you know, some scholars have explained that, if you every single day in Ramadan is a specific day of worship, so it should have a specific intention. That's why you make it every single day. Because what if you make it in the month, you make that intention, and then something happens, and then you don't fast. You have to break the fast. So that's why every single night. So if say tomorrow, you're going to be traveling or something, then you're exempt from having to, keep that intention. You follow what I'm saying? So it's easier to make it every night. But either way is acceptable. That's not nothing for people to be falling out about. And people fall out about anything. So may Allah keep us safe. So on the next slide, we have the dua for fasting. Of course, when you have a dua, this specific niyyah, you should have a specific niyyah for the act of worship. So you have a couple of duas on that page that may be good as a reference to memorize. But the one you can use every night is in the middle, where it says "Bisawmi Godin Nawaitu min Shahri Ramadan." I intend to keep the fast for tomorrow in the month of Ramadan. Or you could say it in English. After sunset, the night before is when you make your intention for the next day. So, for instance, when Ramadan comes the night before, we should make our intention for the month if to cover ourselves, and if we are stringent and being diligent, every single night prior, we make the intention, and making that dua would be good, inshallah ta'ala. And then we have the dua here, Allahumma laka samtu wa ala rizqika aftartu, one of the easiest duas to use when you break the fast. Um, you can use this dua, inshallah. Okay, so the next slide, where we left off, we were talking about the suhoor. And so everyone know what the suhoor is, right? Suhoor is the pre-dawn meal, and it has plenty of blessings in it that the companion Abu Sa'id al-Khudri reported, radiallahu anhu. He said, the Messenger of Allah sallallahu alaihi wasallam said, the pre-dawn meal is a blessed meal, so do not abandon it, even if you only take a sip of water. Verily, Allah and His angels send blessings upon those who take the pre-fasting meal, take the suhoor. And there's a couple of other narrations. Another one that says that the difference between us and the Jews and Christians is taking the suhoor. And another hadith that we mentioned here is that the Prophet ﷺ reported that he said, my nation will not cease to be upon goodness so long as they hasten to break their fast and prolong the morning meal. So he meant to take the suhoor as close as dawn as possible, and when it's time to break, you rush. As soon as the sun sets. So again, as much barakah as the suhoor carries, if you miss it, you still got to fast. If you miss it, you still have to fast. So there are times where people miss suhoor meal, and they be thinking like, oh, okay, nah. You just missed the barakah getting the suhoor. You still got to fast. You still have to observe fast, So, and alhamdulillah, we got through that period, the last few years. We've been having 16, 17-hour days, and either way, it's all barakah. So that's something we should be, make sure that we observe the suhoor meal because of the blessings in it, and plus it helps give us strength during the day. All right, so the next thing is the time for suhoor. The time for suhoor. So this is also a big problem that we want to discuss in detail. Let me see if I can share this screen again. I'll try it. It looks like it's up there. Can people see this online?
Yeah, which one?
Yeah.
The one that says the time for suhoor?
Yeah, but it's not allowing me to do a slideshow presentation. So I just leave it like that then, right? Okay, so the time for suhoor is very important. So in the ayah, it says in Surah Baqarah again, ayah 187, and eat and drink until the white thread of dawn becomes distinct to you from the black thread. So this is mean that the white thread of dawn that appears in the sky. And then there's another hadith that shows about the time of suhoor. As the Prophet ﷺ said that there are two fajrs. There are two fajrs. A fajr in which food is impermissible and prayer is permitted, and a fajr in which food is permissible and prayer is impermissible. And this is collected in Ibn Khuzaymah. So everybody know about these two fajrs? Does anybody didn't know about that? All right. So the two fajrs are called the false fajr and the true fajr. So the false fajr is called the fajr al-kadhib. All right. And that is at the end of the night when the bright light is in the sky and it is a vertical light on the eastern of the horizon. A vertical light means a light that's going like this. And the Fajr Asadiq is the horizontal light when the light in the sky. So that is the white thread that is mentioned in the Quran. And anybody know any hadith related to the black thread and the white thread? Just as a trivia question. All of my erudite scholars left me. I must boredom, so we had a nice crowd. They all bailed on me. But mashallah, anybody know anything related to that? I know the sisters got us, but alhamdulillah, they can't say nothing, so we we getting the pass. Let me see if anybody online saying anything about that. No. Anybody know any hadith related to that? There was a particular companion when he heard this that he did something. Let's give you a hint. Nobody remember? So there was one of the companions. I actually forget the companion's name. When he read this ayat and he got a piece of black thread and a piece of white thread. I knew y'all would know. And so he put it under his pillow. So he was like, the black thread, what is the difference? What's going on? So it was confusing him. So he actually had a literal piece of thread and he had it as pillow, like, well, when are they gonna are they gonna transform or something? When are they gonna become distinct between each other, And so when this reached the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam, he said, no, when the thread of the light appears on the horizon in the sky. So that's what meant in the ayah, So this gives an indication of, ta'wil, some of the things that we talked about. Everything is not as it appears in the actual wording, and sometimes we as humans, we have a tendency to take words on their apparent meaning, but they mean something else, And so that was always a good story. So the time for suhoor is the false fajr is when food is permissible to eat, and that is when that light sky is vertical. So you ever see in the wee hours of the morning, if you look and it looks like like it's a spotlight in the air, like they got something, like they're trying to find something. That's what that light for the false fajr looks like. It's a vertical light. And then the horizontal light is the true fajr. The true fajr is when the prayer starts and it is not permissible to take suhoor. So if you eat after the time of the true fajr, then the fast is invalid and you have to make that day up. And it's very important to know when that time occurs, because this is a problem that many people come across. And so we're taking the time to discuss it, inshallah. So on the next slide and on the next page, for those who have a copy, I try to put a printout. I think you can see it on here. So it shows the way that the white thread looks in the sky. So if you see that bright light over the horizon, the top picture is when it is like 18 degrees, right? So when the white thread starts to appear 18 degrees above the horizon, it's still pitch black outside, and that is the time of the true dawn. That is the time of the true dawn, all right, and that is the time when someone should have already eaten their suhoor, right? And then the next one on the bottom is when the white thread is 15 degrees above the angle, right? So you see it starts to get a lighter, and then the red glow starts to appear. So that is the time when you absolutely cannot be passed, because there's times I remember that people would think that, that it would long as the sun wasn't up, that you can eat, And so there's a narration you may all be familiar with. That one of the companions, they were asked about how much time was it between the time of suhoor and the time that they prayed. And they said it was about the time to recite about 50 verses from the Quran. And so some scholars have said that's about 20 to 30 minutes to recite 50 verses. So that is the time that they had that they would eat from eating suhoor until they will eat begin the fast, where they would stop eating suhoor. All right, so these pictures show the vertical white thread in the sky. All right. All right, now here's another important thing on the next slide. Um, I put now I use this app called Quran Majid, and all of you have Muslim Pro. What app do you all use? So I want you all to take your phone out and pull up the app that you have. All right. Use the app that you use for your prayer times. All right, sisters, you could do it too to see if anybody online does it. All right. So when you go, you see your prayer times, and it says for most of us, they automatically come preset where it says Islamic Society of North America. Do you all have that? You see the prayer times, how it's calculated. It tells you what school it's calculated by, and then it says what method they use. Any of y'all see that on your settings?
Yeah.
What do yours say?
Islamic Society of North America.
Okay. What does yours say, Shadi? All right. So any phone that you get, because we're in North America, they use that, and North America uses the 15-degree angle for determining when the white thread appears in the sky. All right. Now, most places around the world, they use 18 degrees. So if you see on this slide here, I took the screenshots from my app, and you could do it on your own. You can check. So on the first side, it shows the Islamic Society of North America. So it has Fajr at 5:15, right? Oh, I put two things in the same one. All right. Yeah, I messed that up. All right, but it's about a 23-minute difference. So you could check it on your phone. So if you go to settings, right, and you says when you go to settings, it says the Fajr Isha method or it's the time method. You all see that?
Yeah.
When it says Islamic Society of North America, you click the arrow over and it gives you some options. So you see, I know you see Qura, University of Islamic Sciences, Karachi, Muslim World League. You might see a few other ones. Do you all see those? All right, so before you click that on, go back to your regular time and see what time Fajr comes in tomorrow. Okay, I got Fajr in tomorrow. Um, if you use the Islamic of North America, what time you got for Fajr for tomorrow? 5:14. 5:13. So mine's got 5:14. See how now if you go to settings, the Fajr Isha method, right? Change it to University of Islamic Sciences, Karachi. Okay, and then go see what time your Fajr time is in. So tomorrow I got 4:58. So what's that, a 15, 16-minute difference? Or about a 20-minute difference. So that difference from that time is that we should pay attention to. So it'll be on the safer side if you set your your adjustment where they use the 18-degree calculation. So that's when the white thread first appears in the horizon on the east, because that's what we're going by. So that can be global. And some scholars have said the 15-degree model. So that's what you'll see in this country, right? But you should absolutely not be eating after that second time. All right, because I don't know how some places do it. So many, from my experience, when Fajr time comes and says that, do you do it at the time of 5:13, and you call the adhan at that time, right? And do any of you pray like right afterwards? At least give couple, like here when we call the adhan and we're for Fajr, we'll wait 20 minutes. 15. So that's about the time that it takes to recite, 50 verses. Now imagine someone already has their, for Ramadan, they think that they can, because there's another hadith, the Prophet ﷺ said that you can even eat up until the prayer time, when the prayer time is established. Now, say if somebody is operating off that 15-degree model, which is the later time, and then they think, okay, 10 minutes later, they're going to pray, and so I still got time to eat. This is important because people who are doing that, their fast is invalid because they're eating past the time. They're eating past the time. So, some people have some, issues about it, but at the very least, you should not eat past the 15 degree time. So now, just to go up a bit, if you got an arrow, you can go by month, right? Go to when Ramadan starts. So I know on this app, it has March and then it has Shaban, right? So it has Ramadan here. They have it for the 23rd already. So they have Fajr and Suhoor at 4:28, right? Now, and that's on University of Karachi time. Now, when I switch it back to Islamic Society of North America, it has Fajr at 4:44. So if you use the Islamic Circle of North America, that's the time that you should absolutely be done. But that's probably the time that we're beginning to pray, you know. So that's something we should keep in mind because remember the false Fajr and the true Fajr, right? And so I remember years ago people not really understanding this, and that people was like still eating suhoor or thought they were eating suhoor, and they was starting to be light outside. If you can look outside, you still see light. You you drop the ball. You drop the ball. So when that white thread is distinct in the sky, it's still pitch black in the rest of the sky. Then when it starts to go a 3 degree difference, it's about a 15-20 minute difference in time. So that's something that we should pay attention to. So, my family used to get on me because I used to print out the prayer schedule and adjust to 18 degrees. So y'all got to be finished eating by this time. And then they're not eating, but at least they finish by the other time. So in between those times is good. But if you eating past that second time, then, it's invalid. You have to make those days up, and that's just something that we wanted to cover. On the PowerPoint, I showed a picture of how it looks in the sky. And because, we're so caught up on this technology that we're doing everything, we should be able to look in the sky and know when that white thread. I mean, you really can't see it clear. You have to be like in an open place to see it. We should know the times when Fajr, Dhuhr, Asr, what the shadow looks like, the position of the sun. We should know these things as Muslims, because on a conspiratorial note, when they shut all the grid down, we ain't gonna have none of this stuff, So, okay, so that's something I hope the sisters caught that on. Is any questions about that? All right. And also, if you go in there, somebody had a question. Yeah, and a good thing to do that I do when the nights when it was later on, I would manually adjust the Isha to 15 degrees because there's a difference in that too. So there's a 15 degrees. That means Isha is a little earlier, because when it's the summertime and Isha is coming in at 9 something, and you're doing Tarawih, you know, and at this match here we do 20 rakat, so that starts to take a toll on you. It's like, and afterward, at Ramadan, the energy's there. Then after you pray, then people want to talk, and I am known to get out of Dodge, man, when it's over. Like, hey man, nah, man, you know what time Fuzzy coming, man? Like, I ain't got time to be talking. We had all day to talk, man. And matter of fact, if we observing the true meaning of song, we should stop talking. you know. And so then the last one, yeah, I'll give you a second. So I tried to give you a picture of what the vertical light looks like and what the horizontal light looks like. That's on the last slide. So inshallah, we'll be observant of that. So that's very important. The time we take suhoor and the time we begin to fast. So that will end that presentation, inshallah ta'ala. So I'll take a couple moments for any questions.
I just wanted to ask about you said Islamic Circle of North America?
Yes.
They're on the app?
Yeah, when you get a phone in North America, the app is already pre-installed to be with Islamic Circle of North America, because that's where we live. You know, so you should be aware of making those adjustments so you can know. You know. So if you don't want to make the adjustment and you go by ISNA's calculations, just make sure for the record you're not eating past that time on there. All right. So don't think that you call the adhan and then you still have a few moments thinking that you're working off the hadith of the Prophet Salam said, you know, even when the adhan is called and you're in the middle of something, you should finish it, or you have up until the time that the prayer is established. If you're working off the 15-degree model and you're eating it after that, your fast is invalid. You have to make those days up. Go ahead.
So let's say that I'm drinking some milk and they call the adhan and then the cup is in my hand, like
Yeah, at that time you should finish it.
just finish it.
At that time. But I'm talking about if you say, okay, oh, they ain't gonna call the comment for another 10 minutes. No, don't do it.
Okay, another question too. Let's say I have food in my mouth while they're calling the adhan.
Finish it.
Finish it.
Yes. Yes. Okay, and there are hadiths related to that, but I didn't. This stuff starts to get a little too much, you know. And I know y'all, you don't want to hear from me, but let somebody else tell you. MashaAllah. All right, so that's important, and we hope that people observe that, pay attention to it, and especially with this moon sighting issue. Just follow your local community. As you all know here, that we, I have a group text that we send out updates, and we also update our Facebook and Twitter pages, and all the other social media pages. So that's just something to be aware of, and we'll be reviewing some more of this stuff tomorrow. But tomorrow's lecture will basically be like just good, heartfelt lectures, not too much technical stuff. So, inshallah, we'll stop there if there's no more questions. And then I'll turn it over to Ustad, Mr. Bay.
You want to go for a little bit, or we just gonna break for dinner?
You want to break for
It's
dinner?
up to you. It's up to the people. They want to break dinner.
Okay.
We can either go for a little bit more, or
No, I'm about done.
yeah, we'll pick up tomorrow. Then.
Yeah, so hopefully this was beneficial. I don't see any comments on the page. Is there any sisters upstairs that have any questions they might want to send down before we conclude? We'll take them, inshallah. Or anybody online has any questions or comments, we'll take them. Okay. So this brings us to the real part of the gathering, the food. That's all. I'll tell you online. That's all they came for. Nobody want to learn that, man. They just want to come because they know we put meals together over here. So, but that's all good. That put the hearts together. So be it. So alhamdulillah. So if there's any sisters, we can entertain the questions offline. And so we ask Allah who spent with Allah to accept this from us, and to forgive us. Also, we're doing like a partial fundraiser. So if anybody online, as you see the banner going across the screen, please take a moment to try to make some contributions to help us along during this month of Ramadan. We do a lot of feeding for iftar. We do a lot of feeding for homeless. We like to be prepared, inshallah. We have one brother, alhamdulillah, made a donation. Who else going to go in their pocket and match? I told y'all, bring your checkbooks, bring your cash app, in these technical times, you know what I'm saying?
So,
Yeah. Who else got something? Let me put something on it. Yeah, I ain't going to ask you to do nothing I'm not going to do. So, all right. Sisters, take off your jewelry, anything, possessions that you have,
we need to go.
and run it down the line. This is, for our people online, this is a virtual stick up.
Right on the back.
Don't nobody move, nobody get hurt. You know what I mean? Don't make it no homicide.
It's on the bottom of the screen. Let them know.
Yeah, so we really appreciate it if you, help us in our, donations, inshallah. And we'll be resuming a real hard body fundraiser tomorrow. So for those who weren't able to be in person, we'll partake in some good food on your behalf. Please make dua for us, inshallah. And Yeah, we're in there. Subhanaka Allahumma wa bihamdika ashhadu an la ilaha illa anta astaghfiruka wa atubu ilayk. Al-Fatiha. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.